Get on your knees and clean it. The glass shattered across the marble floor as the pregnant woman froze mid-step, one hand instinctively covering her stomach. Red wine spread like blood across the tiles. Her husband didn't blink. "I said, clean it, Mira." The mistress stood at the top of the staircase, in silk pajamas, swirling another glass of wine. "Careful," she laughed softly. "You'll stain my floors." My floors. Mira slowly bent down, 7 months pregnant, back aching, breathing shallow. Ethan folded his arms. "You wanted to stay in this house? Then you'll earn your place." She looked up at him once, not pleading, not angry, just quiet. That quiet irritated him more than tears ever could. "You think silence makes you noble? You're here because I allow it." Upstairs, the mistress, Lydia, descended slowly, deliberately, as if walking down a runway. "You didn't tell me she was this obedient," Lydia smirked. "I might actually enjoy this arrangement." Mira wiped the wine with steady movements. "You will address her as ma'am," Ethan said coldly. Lydia tilted her head. "No, she can call me Lydia. I prefer familiarity when I'm being served." He had no idea the house deed was in her maiden name. Mira stood up carefully. "Dinner is ready." "Set it," Ethan ordered. She walked to the dining table. No one noticed the small vibration of her phone inside her apron pocket. She didn't check it. Not yet. 3 years earlier, Ethan had nothing. Debt, failed business proposals, empty promises. Mira married him against her family's advice. She said she loved him. She never told him her last name carried weight. She never told him the anonymous investor who saved his collapsing tech startup was her. She never told him the mansion he bragged about buying was technically under her trust because she wanted love, not leverage. Tonight, that choice stood bleeding on marble tiles. "Sit down," Lydia commanded casually, sliding into the head of the table. Mira remained standing. "I don't eat until you're done," she said calmly. Ethan scoffed. "Look at that. She's learning." Lydia leaned back. "You know what I don't understand?" she asked Ethan loudly. "Why didn't you just divorce her? She has nowhere to go, and she doesn't have money." The bank had frozen his offshore account an hour earlier. He just didn't know it yet. Mira poured water into Lydia's glass. "Careful," Lydia snapped. "Your hands are shaking." "They're not," Mira replied gently. Lydia's smile vanished. "You have an attitude for someone wearing an apron in her own home." Ethan slammed his fork down. "Don't test me, Mira." The baby kicked. She closed her eyes briefly. "You're stressing the child," Mira whispered. "Oh, now you care?" Ethan laughed. "You should have thought about that before embarrassing me at the gala." "I said nothing at the gala." "Exactly," Lydia cut in. "You stood there like a statue while investors whispered. It was humiliating." Mira met Ethan's gaze. "I didn't want to expose you." His jaw tightened. "Expose me? For what?" She held his stare, a second too long. Lydia noticed. "Did she just threaten you?" Ethan stood. "Go to the kitchen." Mira obeyed. But her calm wasn't submission, it was calculation. The board had voted him out 20 minutes ago. He would find out tomorrow morning. In the kitchen, Mira pulled out her phone. One message. "It's done." No emojis, no explanations. She typed back, "Proceed to phase 2." Then she put the phone away and returned with dessert. Lydia clapped mockingly. "Our little maid works fast." Ethan leaned close to Lydia. "By next month, this house will be legally yours." Mira's hands paused mid-plate. "Legally?" Lydia asked, intrigued. "I'm transferring everything." Mira finally spoke. "You can't." Ethan turned slowly. "Excuse me? You can't transfer assets you don't fully own." Silence. Lydia laughed. "She's delusional." Ethan stepped closer to Mira. "Everything in this house is mine, is it?" she asked softly. He grabbed her wrist. "Don't push me." The security system in the house had just been reassigned to a new primary owner, not Ethan. Mira didn't flinch. "You're hurting me." "Good," Lydia muttered. Ethan released her. "Go to upstairs. Clean the master bedroom." Mira swallowed. "That's where I sleep." Lydia smiled coldly. "Not anymore." Mira walked past them, every step measured, every breath steady. Upstairs, she entered the bedroom she once shared with her husband. Lydia's perfume had replaced her scent. Her clothes were gone, replaced. Mira opened the closet, empty, except for one folder. She stared at it, then closed the door. Not yet. Downstairs, Ethan's phone rang. He frowned at the unknown number. "Hello?" Silence. Then a calm voice. "This is First Dominion Capital. We need to discuss your outstanding obligations." Ethan frowned. "What obligations? I've never missed a payment." "Sir, your accounts have been flagged. All major assets are under review." "That's impossible." "Ownership discrepancies were found." Ethan's eyes flickered upward. Mira stood at the top of the stairs, watching. He didn't know yet, but something had shifted, and it wasn't small. Lydia crossed her arms. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," Ethan snapped. The technical error was intentional and irreversible. Upstairs, Mira placed a hand over her stomach. "Just a little longer," she whispered. Below her, the illusion of power was beginning to crack, and neither of them realized the floor beneath them didn't belong to Ethan at all. It belonged to her. And she was done playing powerless. The real storm hadn't even started yet. Ethan hurled his phone across the living room. It slammed against the wall and shattered. "What did they mean, ownership discrepancies?" he roared. Lydia flinched. "Calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down." Mira descended the stairs slowly, one hand on the railing. "Something wrong?" she asked quietly. Ethan turned toward her with fire in his eyes. "Did you touch anything? Any documents? Any accounts?" She tilted her head. "I wouldn't know how." "Don't lie to me." His company's stock dropped 12% in after-hours trading. He didn't know that either. Lydia grabbed his arm. "This is probably just compliance nonsense." Ethan breathed hard through his nose. "They said assets are under review." "Which assets?" Mira asked. "All of them." Silence lingered between the three of them. Then Lydia's expression shifted. "Wait, all of them?" "Yes." "Even the house?" Ethan hesitated. "It's temporary." Mira stepped closer. "Did you read the deed before you bragged about ownership?" His eyes narrowed. "What are you implying?" She looked him dead in the eye. "Maybe you should read it." Lydia scoffed. "This is ridiculous. Ethan, tell her to shut up." "Go upstairs," Ethan barked. Mira didn't move. The front gate locks had just updated under a new administrator profile. Mira's profile. "You seem nervous," she said softly. He advanced toward her. "You think this is funny? No. Then wipe that look off your face." "What look?" "That calm look." The baby kicked again. She winced slightly. Lydia rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, not the fragile act." Mira turned to Lydia. "You think I'm fragile? You're a pregnant maid." The words echoed. Ethan didn't correct her. Mira nodded slowly. "And you're living in someone else's house." Lydia laughed. "What did you say?" "You heard me." Ethan grabbed Mira's shoulders. "Enough." His grip tightened. "Let go," she said evenly. "Not until you explain what you think you know." She looked down at his hands on her shoulders. "You should be careful how you touch majority shareholders." The air froze. "What did you say?" Ethan asked slowly. "You heard me." Lydia burst into laughter. Majority shareholder of what? The grocery store? Mira's eyes stayed on Ethan. You never checked where the early funding came from, did you? It came from private investors. Yes, and private investors have names. Ethan's face darkened. You're bluffing. Am I? His phone vibrated on the floor. He hesitated, then picked it up. Screen cracked. Another call from First Dominion Capital. He answered on speaker. This better be good. Mr. Carter, the voice began calmly. We have confirmed a majority transfer of controlling shares, effective immediately. That's impossible, Ethan shouted. I didn't authorize anything. You didn't need to. The majority owner did. Silence swallowed the room. Who? Ethan demanded. Pause. Mira Alvarez Trust. Lydia's smile faded. Ethan slowly turned his head toward his wife. No, he whispered. Yes, the voice continued. Documentation has been on file for 3 years. You were operating under provisional authority. Ethan's breathing became uneven. That's a mistake. It is not. The call ended. The house felt smaller. Lydia stared at Mira. What does that mean? Mira answered gently. It means he never owned the company. Ethan stepped back as if struck. You're lying. She shook her head. You let me believe you never passed. You humiliated me. I protected you. Protected me from what? From your own greed. Lydia's voice cracked slightly. Ethan, is she serious? He ignored her. Why? Why would you hide this? Because I wanted you to love me without knowing. And now? Now I know. The bank had initiated legal review of his personal guarantees. His debts were tied to assets he didn't own. He didn't realize he was seconds away from collapse. Lydia backed away slowly. Ethan, you told me you built everything. I did, he snapped. Mira's gaze softened slightly. You built the prototype. I funded the survival. You think money equals power? In business, yes. His hands shook. You set me up. You gave me opportunity. You let me look like a fool. You did that yourself. Lydia turned toward Mira, anger rising. So what, you're rich? Big deal. That doesn't change the fact that he doesn't love you. Mira's eyes flickered. No, she agreed quietly. So this is revenge? No. Then what is it? Accountability. Another vibration. This time, a notification. He opened his banking app. Error. He tried again. Access denied. What did you do? He whispered. I secured my assets. Our assets. No, she corrected gently. Mine. Lydia grabbed her purse. I'm not staying here. You can't leave, Ethan said quickly. Watch me. She headed for the door. It didn't open. She tried again. It's locked. Mira spoke without raising her voice. I changed the security administrator. Ethan's heart pounded audibly. You had no right. It was always my right. Lydia spun around. Open the door. Mira didn't move. Why are you doing this? Ethan asked, desperation creeping in. She placed a hand on her stomach again. Because you told me to get on my knees. He swallowed hard. And I never kneel in houses I own. Silence. Pure silence. Then headlights flashed outside the front windows. Ethan turned toward the glass. Who is that? Mira answered calmly. My lawyers. The storm had officially arrived, and this time Ethan couldn't pretend it was a technical error. It was a takeover, and he was no longer in control. The front door unlocked with a sharp, mechanical click. Ethan spun around. "You said it was locked." "It was," Mira replied calmly. The door opened. 3 people stepped inside. 2 men in tailored suits, 1 woman holding a leather briefcase. The woman spoke first. "Good evening, Mrs. Alvarez." Ethan's head snapped toward Mira. "Mrs. Alvarez?" Mira nodded once. "Thank you for coming, Sophia." Lydia whispered, "Alvarez? That name, isn't that—" The Alvarez Group, worth $4.8 billion. And Ethan had just realized who he married. Sophia continued, voice steady. "We have completed the transfer of operational control. Mr. Carter's executive access has been revoked." "Revoked?" Ethan barked. "You can't just walk into my house and—" "This property," Sophia interrupted smoothly, "is registered under the Alvarez Family Trust. Documentation is here." She opened the briefcase and handed Ethan a thick folder. His hands trembled as he flipped through pages. Deed, trust documents, corporate filings. His name appeared only as spouse, temporary, revocable. You tricked me," he breathed. Mira's voice, soft but unshaken. "You tricked yourself." Lydia backed toward the staircase. "Ethan, tell me this isn't real." He didn't answer, because he couldn't. Sophia turned to Mira. "Would you like us to proceed with asset protection?" Mira looked at Ethan, 1 long second. Yes. His personal guarantees had just defaulted automatically. Ethan's phone exploded with notifications. Loan default, margin call, legal alert. He stared at the screen like it was written in a foreign language. "This is sabotage! You're destroying everything!" "No," Mira said calmly. "I'm separating myself from your destruction. You're my wife, and you made me your maid." The words hit harder than any document. Lydia found her voice. "You can't just throw him out." Mira looked at her. "Watch me." Ethan's breathing became ragged. "You wouldn't dare." Mira nodded toward the men behind Sophia. They stepped forward. "Mr. Carter, you'll need to vacate the premises tonight." "Tonight?" Ethan roared. "This is my home!" "It isn't," Mira replied. He laughed suddenly, wild, unstable. "You think money makes you powerful? You think this wins?" She didn't flinch. "It ends." He stepped closer to her, eyes blazing. "You needed me. I loved you." "That's not the same." "I know." The silence between them heavier than any argument. Lydia grabbed Ethan's arm. "We can fix this. You can sue her." Sophia calmly interjected. "The prenuptial agreement states clearly that all pre-existing assets remain under Mrs. Alvarez's ownership." His face drained of color. "Prenup?" "You signed it," Mira said quietly. "You said it was just paperwork." He tried to remember. He skimmed it, smirked, signed without reading. His signature had just cost him everything. "You set me up from the beginning," he whispered. "No," she replied. "I protected myself from the beginning." "You hid your name." "You never cared enough to ask." The baby shifted again. Mira steadied herself against the table. Ethan noticed. For a moment, something flickered in his expression. Guilt? No. Resentment. "You think this child will respect you for this?" he spat. Mira's eyes hardened for the first time. "This child will never see his mother kneel." The room fell silent. Lydia suddenly spoke, voice shaky. "Ethan, what about the penthouse you promised?" He turned on her. "Not now." "No, now," she snapped. "Was that even real?" He had no answer. Sophia glanced at her watch. "Security is waiting outside." "Security?" Ethan echoed. Mira nodded once more. The 2 men stepped closer. "Please, gather your personal belongings." "You can't do this," Ethan muttered weakly. "I already did." Lydia rushed upstairs to grab her bags. Ethan stood frozen. "You're ruining your own marriage," he said. There wasn't one left. "You'll regret this." I already regretted staying. The board had issued a public statement removing him as CEO. Sophia handed Mira her tablet. Headline flashing across the screen. Alvarez Trust assumes full control. Ethan Carter removed. His face twisted as he read it. They turned on me. They answered to me, Mira corrected. Lydia came stumbling down the stairs with luggage. Ethan, we need to go. He looked at Mira one last time. I made you. She shook her head slowly. You underestimated me. Security officers entered, professional, silent. One extended a hand toward Ethan's shoulder. Sir. He shrugged him off, but didn't resist. As he walked toward the door, he stopped. You think you've won? Mira's voice, calm as steel. I stopped losing. The door opened. Cold night air rushed in. Lydia hurried out first. Ethan followed. The door shut behind them with a final, solid click. The power dynamic had flipped permanently. No going back. Silence filled the mansion. Mira exhaled slowly. Sophia approached gently. Are you all right? Mira nodded, but her hands trembled. Not from fear, from release. It's done, Sophia said softly. Mira looked around the house. The same walls, the same floors, but the weight had lifted. Schedule the board meeting for tomorrow, she said. Yes, Mrs. Alvarez. Sophia and the men exited quietly. Mira stood alone, hand on her stomach. You're safe, she whispered. Outside, Ethan stood on the curb, staring at the mansion. Lights on, but no longer his. For the first time in years, he felt powerless. And inside, the woman he tried to humiliate had just reclaimed everything. The war wasn't loud, it was precise, and she had executed it flawlessly. But the final confrontation was still coming, because Ethan Carter wasn't the type to walk away quietly, and Mira knew that. That's why she had one more move prepared. Ethan lunged back toward the door. Security blocked him instantly. You can't throw me out like trash. Mira didn't move from the foyer. I didn't throw you out. I removed you from my property. My property, he yelled back. No, she corrected. Your illusion. His final hidden account had just been flagged for investigation. His phone buzzed violently in his hand. He ignored it. You're doing this because of her, he said, pointing toward the empty space Lydia had occupied minutes ago. I'm doing this because of you. You're emotional. No, she replied calmly. I'm finished. Lydia stepped forward from behind him, panic replacing arrogance. Ethan, we need to leave. Reporters are already outside. What? He snapped. Camera flashes lit the street. The press release had gone public 5 minutes ago. Headline after headline. CEO removed amid ownership dispute. Alvarez Heiress reclaims controlling shares. Was Ethan Carter ever really in charge? His breathing turned sharp. You went public? Mira's expression didn't change. Transparency protects assets. You destroyed my reputation. You destroyed our marriage. That's different. It isn't. Lydia grabbed his arm. We can still spin this. Say you stepped down voluntarily. Sophia reappeared at Mira's side with a tablet. I'm afraid that won't be possible, she said calmly. She turned the screen toward Ethan. A second statement had been released. Pending review of financial irregularities tied to Mr. Carter's personal guarantees. His face went pale. Financial irregularities? Lydia whispered. You reported me. I reported discrepancies. You signed those documents too. No, she said quietly. His mind raced. Forgery. He remembered. Late nights, moving numbers, using her digital signature. He didn't respond, because he couldn't. Lydia slowly turned to Mira. "What happens to me?" she whispered. Mira's voice, steady. "You leave. And the penthouse." There was never a penthouse. Lydia's shoulders slumped. She picked up her suitcase and walked away without another word. The street grew quiet. Sophia turned gently to Mira. "It's over." Mira placed both hands over her stomach. "No," she said softly. "It's beginning." The reporters hesitated at the gate. Mira stepped forward, confidently. Cameras lifted. "Mrs. Alvarez," someone shouted. "Did you plan this from the start?" She faced them calmly. "I planned to protect my family." "Did your husband know who you really were?" "He knew enough." "Will you be taking over as CEO?" "Yes." "Any message from Mr. Carter?" She paused, then spoke clearly. "Never mistake kindness for weakness." The quiet woman they underestimated had just become the most powerful person in the room. Inside the mansion, the lights glowed warm, not as a cage, not as a stage for humiliation, but as her home. She turned back toward the door, walked inside, and closed it gently. No slamming, no shouting, just finality. Upstairs, she entered the master bedroom, the same room she had been ordered to clean hours earlier. She removed the apron, folded it neatly, placed it in a drawer. Then she looked at her reflection. Not a maid, not a victim, not a secret. Just Mira Alvarez, billionaire, mother, owner, and no longer silent. She turned off the light, and for the first time in years, she slept peacefully. Outside, Ethan stood on the curb, staring at the mansion. Lights on, but no longer his. For the first time in years, he felt powerless. Every plan he had, every illusion of control, crumbled in seconds. The woman he had humiliated, the woman he had underestimated, had just reclaimed everything. The war wasn't loud. It wasn't messy. It was precise. And Mira had executed it flawlessly. The baby stirred gently inside her womb. A life safe, protected. A legacy secure. Mira exhaled slowly, feeling the weight lift from every corner of the mansion. From every shadow of fear that had haunted her, Sophia approached quietly. "Everything is ready for the board meeting tomorrow," she said softly. Mira nodded. "Good. And security has been reinforced. There will be no surprises." She smiled faintly, almost to herself. "Thank you, Sophia." Sophia inclined her head, silently acknowledging the calm power in the woman before her. Mira walked to the balcony, overlooking the city. The night air crisp, lights twinkling, distant traffic, a world that once seemed intimidating, now under her steady gaze. She whispered softly to the life inside her, "You're safe, and soon the world will see who your mother really is." The mansion, once a stage of control and cruelty, now a fortress, a home, a symbol of quiet strength. Every corner, every room, every floor under her name, her trust, her ownership. The power dynamic had shifted irrevocably. Ethan Carter reduced to nothing, his empire exposed, his pride shattered, and Lydia, the mistress, stripped of influence, left to reckon with the truth she had underestimated. Mira's hand rested over her stomach, gentle, protective, filled with the promise of a new generation, one that would never kneel, never submit, never be silenced. She turned toward the empty halls, the house finally hers. Every memory, every betrayal, every calculated move had led here. The storm, she had weathered it and controlled its path. Her lips curved ever so slightly. A quiet victory, not loud, not vengeful, precise, perfect. The calm after the storm, absolute. Her eyes closed finally, the weight of years lifted, the tension released, and in the silence, peace. Mira Alvarez, billionaire, mother, owner, and no longer silent. The story had ended, but the legacy had just begun. The camera would pan out from the mansion, city lights glimmering, a world waiting, unaware of the quiet force that now commanded it. Her hand still over her stomach, a reminder of the future, of power, of protection, of triumph. The night calm, the war over, the victor undeniable. Mira Alvarez in control at last. Fade to black. Mira Alvarez played the quiet game and won. But what would you have done in her place? Comment below with your move. Hit like if her strategy shocked you, and subscribe to follow more stories where the underestimated rise to power. Don't miss the next twist. This is just the beginning.